to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This one's wife. The tide has turned. I explained to you that as a consequence of the brouhaha that had arisen in relation to Harry receiving the Pat Tillman Service Award, that the tide had turned. Hitherto, in the United States, there was a reasonable body of individuals that disliked the Sussexes. There was a smaller body of individuals that supported them, but most people were not really fussed about them, not particularly interested in them. This was problematic for the Sussexes. As I've explained, they needed to make a success of the United States, and they needed to ensure that those that were undecided or disinterested became interested in them. They've sought to do this through supposed philanthropy and the purchasing of awards, and once again, it's demonstrative of the scrambled way that this one's wife's narcissism operates, that there was an attempt to boost this popularity by the purchase of the Pat Tillman Service Award. It backfired. This actually brought the Sussexes onto people's radars, but not in the way that they wanted. It brought them onto the radar in terms of, that's disgusting and despicable. We are not impressed by that in the slightest. The consequence was that people who paid little attention to the Sussexes now roundly found them to be unpleasant individuals, and that Harry was an undeserved recipient of the award, that they felt that the Pat Tillman Award, a national hero, had been sullied by the inclusion of Prince Harry, and it resulted in backlash. It resulted in the petition, much criticism on social media, certain prominent individuals such as McAfee speaking out on ESPN about the award, and as we saw, the award ceremony was not a triumph either. I explained that this was a watershed moment because what it did was that it shifted the tide so that those who hitherto were disinterested in the Sussexes started to dislike them. And that body of individuals who already disliked them in the United States grew that much bigger, meaning that the momentum that the Sussexes sought to harness to make themselves more popular actually had gone the other way, and more people were turning against them. And I explained that that momentum was something that they would not be able to counteract, and that in effect that became the beginning of the end for them with regard to popularity in the United States. It's not going to stop them keep trying, but it's a little bit like Canute trying to stop the tide coming in. The tide has turned, it's going against them, and they're not going to be able to do anything about it. Thereafter, I've invited you to observe how in the media this shifting of the position has been picked up on. And already, in parts passim, I've identified instances whereby the relevant parts of the media are pointing out how more people in the United States have turned against them and that things are not going their way. I'd invite you to keep this at the forefront of your mind as you watch events unfold over the coming weeks, as you will see that there will be this growing body of disapproval of them, that more and more people who beforehand thought don't really have much of an opinion about them now actively dislike them. This has been picked up by Daniela Elsa, who writes for news.com.au, and I would invite you to watch out for more articles of this nature which support my observation that the matter has turned against them. She writes, "In the vein of You Can't Keep Baby in the Corner, you can't dump Tom Cruise in a supporting role, except if you are the royal family. You can keep your missions impossible and your guns top. Scientology's answer to Willy Loman has repeatedly in recent years happily taken back seat, a B-list second-string part in events, when asked to by the House of Windsor. The eerily ageless A-lister happily played second fiddle to Kate, the Princess of Wales, at the London Top Gun Maverick premiere, and then accepted a simple ensemble role in 2022's televised Royal Windsor Horse Show, the real star of which was Platinum Jubilee gal herself, the late Queen. Cruise is back at it, taking his place in the third row in the royal box at Wimbledon for the men's finals for Kate, the Princess of Wales's return, briefly to rapturous public view. The princess's entry prompted not only Cruise, but notably Julia Roberts, Benedict Cumberbatch, and the 15,000-strong crowd to give Kate a standing ovation as she arrived. See parts passim for the effect that had upon this one's wife. And my, those Tinseltown sorts were delighted with the princess, with Roberts grinning with unabashed delight, while Cruise looked happier than that one time he managed to raise his thetans to level alpha. Cruise and Roberts now join Gwyneth Paltrow, Idris Elba, former British Vogue editor Edward Enninful, and Kate Moss in having publicly shown their support for the royal family of late. Hollywood, it turns out, and to borrow liberally from Somerset Maugham, just might be a sunny place for changeable people, with the Wimbledon scene capping off several months that have seen stars showing their support for Team Crown. Right as this has all been happening, the Californian outpost of the House of Windsor, manned by Prince Harry and this one's wife, has been experiencing what outwardly appears to be something of a cooling relationship with Tinseltown. The tide has turned. An observer based in Hollywood recently told the Times of the couple. People in America have been welcoming, but they won't like the way they've treated the late Queen and now the King. Mostly, people I speak to say they either don't like the Sussexes or don't care. Meanwhile, back in London, it was just this that Sussex wedding guest and Avengers star Elba turned up at St James's Palace to co-host with the King a mini summit on youth crime. They also invited along wet behind the ears Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, taking a break from cleaning out the almond snack packs littering the number 10 desk drawers and left behind by Rishi Sunak and representatives from community organisations. Beyond this, the Actors Elba Hope Foundation is working with the King's Trust, formerly the Prince's Trust set up by Charles in 1976, on various other charity initiatives. Elba has been involved with the Trust since at least 2010, having received a $2,900 Australian grant to help him train as an actor when he was 18. However, Elba also happens to have, in the past, been closely aligned with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, not only attended their wedding, but DJ'd the reception to boot. Yet there the Luther actor was this week, posing for the cameras with the King, a man who so often just happens to be busy to see his son when he's in town. Then there is Gwyneth Paltrow, who reportedly joined the Sussexes for dinner last year, along with Cameron Diaz and Bumble founder Whitney Wolfe Herd, who also attended Ellen DeGeneres and Porter de Rossi's vow renewal with the Duke and Duchess. Last month, the Oscar winner took to Instagram to show her support for Kate after her Trooping the Colour comeback, posting under an official shot of the princess. "So happy to see you looking so happy and well." The big names keep coming too. In May, Leonardo DiCaprio, Drew Barrymore, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, Kate Moss got their glad rag on to help a black tie charity do for the King's Trust in New York, helping raise more than $2 million. Co-chairing the event was Edward Enninful, the former editor-in-chief of British Vogue, who invited this one's wife to guest edit the famed fashion title in 2019. Last year, he wrote the King's entry in Time's 100 Most Influential People list, hailing His Majesty as charming, funny, and a kindness that always seeks to put others at ease. There are also the celebrities and power players who've oddly gone silent. When the Sussexes arrived in the land of the free soda refill, one of their staunchest public allies was Oprah Winfrey. She was a guest at their 2018 wedding. In December 2020, Winfrey happily touted vegan latte company Clever, which this one's wife had invested in on social media. Only a couple of months later, it was to Winfrey to whom the Sussexes turned to begin their palace whistleblowing. However, the last time that the Duke and Duchess and Winfrey were connected publicly, also with DeGeneres and De Rossi, was at a charity event in October last year. In April, if Winfrey received one of the 50 jars of strawberry jam that the Duchess sent out to promote her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard Retirement Homes, the 70-year-old has not posted about it. Nor Has, according to the sleuths at the Daily Mail, the billionaire followed the ARA Instagram account. David and Victoria Beckham were also Sussex wedding guests. However, Tom Bower's House of Beckham this year alleged that after this one's wife had ordered Harry to brutally snub the former footballer during the 2018 Invictus Games, Beckham had got his revenge by flying halfway across the world to join the Prince and Princess of Wales in Boston for the Earthshot Prize, overshadowing the Sussexes. Other big-name royal wedding guests like George and Amal Clooney, Carey Mulligan, Tom Hardy and Priyanka Chopra have not been seen or publicly associated with the Sussexes either. Now let's be clear, just because the Clooneys haven't been seen in papping distance of the Duke and Duchess doesn't mean anything. For all we know, the two couples might regularly spend Taco Tuesday as a cosy foursome. Likewise, Winfrey, she could, for all we know, have grown so close to the Sussexes she has a spare key and is currently teaching Prince Archie's A to Z of camera angles. Also, as remarkable as it might be, two things can be true at once. You can think both Harry and this one's wife were treated shabbily by Crown Inc. and want to wish a mother of three battling cancer well. Still, so far this year, we have not seen Harry and this one's wife repeat the series of A-list nights out, such as in 2023, when they flew via private jet to Las Vegas with Diaz, her husband Benji Madden, Guardian of the Galaxy star Zoe Saldana, Hollywood producer David Katzenberg, and Wolf Herd to see Katy Perry. Or when the Duchess took in the Los Angeles leg of Beyoncé's Renaissance tour, sharing a row with Rocketman Jeff Bezos, fiancée Lauren Sanchez, Kris Jenner, and Netflix Supremo Ted Sarandos. Here comes the woe train with not so more great news. This week, the Emmy nominations came out with the Beckham's documentary nabbing 5, the streamer's previous big name celebrity docuseries Harry and This One's Wife, by contrast, got 0. Thus, the tide has turned with regard to the A-list continuing to stay away from them not being invited to things, and of course more people now saying that they actively dislike the Sussexes. That shift precipitated, to my mind, by the brouhaha surrounding the Pat Tillman Service Award. Keep watching, and you will see more of people speaking out against the Sussexes, more people deeming them to be persona non grata, and also actively disliking them. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.